Agricultural problems due to climate change of normal weather, water depletion, and the collapse of soil have become big problems in all parts of the world. Many are now focusing on ethics and family farming as a way to combat these issues.
An innovative new product or service can give a firm a head start over its rivals, which can be difficult for a new entrant to overcome. If the new technology is also patented, then other firms cannot simply copy its design. It is legally protected. The networks of roots that plants use to absorb water and nutrients can encompass a space larger than the part of the plant visible above ground. The nature of these root systems can help plants adapt to challenging environments such as deserts. For instance, mesquite trees can develop taproots capable of digging more than 50 yards deep to reach water.
Within this recourse, you will be introduced briefly to the discipline of child psychology and to theories and approaches that have been developed to help us understand and support children's lives by focusing on the individual children. Psychologists can assess changes in their child's abilities over time, including their physical, cognitive, social, and emotional development. The course considers the ways in which thinkers have responded to the particular political problems of their day and the ways in which they contribute to a broader conversation about human goods and needs, justice, democracy, and the proper relationship of the individual to the state.
Statistics are indicators of change and allow meaningful comparisons to be made. While it may be the issues rather than the statistics as such that grab people's attention, it should be recognized that it is the statistics that inform the issues. Statistical literacy, then, is the ability to accurately understand, interpret, and evaluate the data that inform these issues.
380 years after his death, William Shakespeare remains the central author of the English-speaking world. He is the most quoted poet and the most regularly produced playwright, and now among the most popular screenwriters as well. Why is that? And who is he?
At a time when stress levels are soaring, rates of depression are increasing, and the gap between rich and poor is ever widening, we believe that giving can play a positive role in helping people to feel connected to those around them and generate a sense of purpose and hope. When we give, we feel valued, useful, and happy.
Your tutor helps you make the most of your time in university by giving you guidance and support along the way. All new students are allocated a personal tutor who will encourage you to get the most out of your course, direct you to other sources of support, and help you achieve your goals.
To some extent, attendance at cultural venues and events is influenced by a person's age and the composition of the household in which they live. For example, those people in households with dependent children were more likely to visit zoological parks and aquariums than people living in single-person households.
Your body is nearly 2/3 water, and so it is really important that you consume enough fluid to stay hydrated and healthy. If you don't get enough fluid, you may feel tired, get headaches, and not perform at your best.
Rarely, however, does a single research study produce the certainty needed to assume that the same results will apply in all or most settings. Rather, research is usually an ongoing process, based on many accumulated understandings and explanations that, when taken together, led to a generalization about educational issues and practice, and ultimately, to the development of theories.
The tortoise size and shell shape varies depending on where they lie. The shell is made of bone and is a dull brown color. Their ribs, backbone and breastbone have become part of the shell, which is why you can never separate the tortoise from its shell. In this course, we will explore how such things as department stores, nationally advertised brand name goods, mass-produced cars, and suburbs transform the American economy, society, and politics. The course is organized both thematically and chronologically. Each period deals with a new development in the history of consumer culture.
Experts discuss the significance of attending the theater as a civic occasion, associated with the political and cultural achievements of Athens. Through archaeology and analysis of contemporary art forms such as decoration on pottery, a picture is built up of ancient Greek theater.
Members of a culture must conform to its norms for the culture to exist and function. Hence, members must want to conform and obey rules. They first must internalize the social norms and values that dictate what is normal for the culture. Then they must socialize or teach norms and values to their children.
Expression became important during the Romantic movement, with artwork expressing a definite feeling, as in the sublime or dramatic. Audience response was important, for the artwork was intended to evoke an emotional response. This definition holds true today as artists look to connect with and evoke responses from their viewers.
There's a lot of research out there that suggests social media are useful to stay connected to others. In fact, those who use social media more also report feeling more social support. However, all of this comes with a huge caveat. We simply don't know about cause and effect.
A lullaby or cradle song is a soothing song or piece of music that is usually played for children. The purposes of lullabies vary. In some societies, they are used to pass down cultural knowledge or tradition. Lullabies can be found in many countries and have existed since ancient times.
Social media has a powerful tool for making people feel more knowledgeable and may have benefits for people's mental health. Feeling smart can improve self-esteem, commented Dr. Ward. Indeed, studies have shown that news sharing can lead to social learning and political engagement, encouraging people to take more active roles in their community.
Environmental damage does not affect all people equally. For this reason, some people may feel anxiety around ecological issues more intensely. Some parts of the world are more vulnerable to the effects of extreme weather, including coastal communities and low-lying areas. Particularly, people whose livelihoods depend on the environment, such as those with jobs in fishing, tourism, and agriculture, are more likely to be affected.
The teleology and historical contingency of biology make it unique among the sciences. Both of these features stem from perhaps biology's only general guiding principle, evolution. It depends on chance and randomness, but natural selection gives it the appearance of intention and purpose. Animals are drawn to water not by some magnetic attraction, but because of their instinct to survive.
In the not-so-distant past, society shunned people with mental health conditions. Some people believed that evil spirits or divine retribution were responsible for mental illness. Although this way of thinking has been extricated from society in much of the world, it still casts a long shadow.
Liver cancer can be fatal, but experts are still working to understand how to best screen for and prevent liver cancer. Data from a recent study suggests that a diet high in processed fiber could increase people's liver cancer risk. Testing for the level of bile acids could help identify people at risk of developing liver cancer who may need a lower intake of fiber.
Eco-anxiety refers to a fear of environmental damage or ecological disaster. This sense of anxiety is largely based on the current and predicted future state of the environment and human-induced climate change. Anxiety around environmental issues may stem from the awareness of a rising risk of extreme weather events, losses of livelihood or housing, fears for future generations, and feelings of helplessness.
To understand how sharing affects a person's subjective and objective knowledge, researchers gave a group of students the opportunity to read and share a range of news articles. The students then had to rate their subjective knowledge of each article before completing 3 multiple-choice questions that assessed their objective knowledge.
While costs are rising, artist fees are not, and tickets to regular shows are harder to move than ever. Many fans aren't ready to return to the crowded mosh. Others are dealing with the cost of living crisis. And with the exception of blockbuster shows, people who do buy tickets are tending to buy them last minute, creating a cash flow problem for artists.
Over the longer term, higher educational institutions are supported to either provide on-campus nursery space or work with established local nurseries to provide affordable childcare for students and staff. This should be a standard for all universities and should be supported by the government to help universities and students and staff cover the costs. Eating a handful of almonds a day significantly increases the production of butyrate, a short-chain fatty acid that promotes gut health. Whole almond eaters had an additional 1.5 bowel movements per week compared to the other groups. Eating almonds could also benefit those with constipation. The carbon is essential to life on Earth, but scientists still struggle to grasp its complexities. Most research to date has focused on major sources of the greenhouse gas carbon dioxide and the use of fossil fuels. A new study has come to the counterintuitive conclusion that plants might accumulate more carbon in the presence of predators and herbivores. Your subject outlines are a good place to go to find information about which textbooks to buy. You will usually be given one of these for each subject in the first lecture, but if you are missing one or need one earlier, then should contact the subject coordinator.
Most people do not realize that some banks literally make money by giving loans without having money on deposit. The system is called fractional reserve banking and is used in most economies. It sounds as though it is safe because it says that banks have to keep a fraction of their deposits with the reserve bank.
In the past, wars have led to inflation and higher commodity prices. Fighting disrupts trade and prevents raw materials from being shipped from one country to another. In Second World War Britain, a banana was the highest of luxury.
Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural, and political rather than purely economic. And one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution.
Hopefully, this will treat and prevent acne and other skin diseases and reduce antibiotic use. Naked Biome is entering clinical trials to see if its approach is safe and effective.
For the designers and engineers who spend years crafting Team USA's uniforms to offer both style and extraordinary aerodynamics, the need to keep athletes warm in these extreme temperatures posed an added dimension of difficulty.
The Royal Institution is an organization that has been around for 209 years. Many of the people that have worked here have been scientists themselves, including Michael Faraday. He made the discoveries that made generating and using electricity much easier, making it possible for us all to switch on lights, cook our dinner, play games, consoles, much, much more.
A thesis is a claim that you can argue for or against. It should be something that you can present persuasively and clearly in the scope of your paper, so keep in mind the page count. If possible, your thesis should be somewhat original.
Today, telecommunication is widespread and devices that assist the progress are common in many parts of the world. There's also a vast array of networks that connect these devices, including computer, telephone and cable networks. Computer communication across the internet, such as email and instant messaging, is just one of many examples of telecommunication. The fact is that those different types of services affect many different dimensions of well-being of people. And defining the human well-being is also extremely challenging. However, we identified that there are certain items providing basic material for life, whether it is food, shelter, or happiness.
Thus, language acquisition might be like other biological functions. The linguistic clumsiness of tourists and students might be the price we pay for the linguistic genius we displayed as babies, just as the decrepitude of age is the price we pay for the vigor of youth.
Killer cosmic rays from nearby supernova could be the culprit behind at least one mass extinction event, researchers said, and finding certain radioactive isotopes in Earth's rock record could confirm this scenario.
People who attended religious services at least once a week were significantly less likely to die from deaths of despair, including deaths related to suicide, drug overdose, and alcohol poisoning, according to new research.
Scientists make observations, have assumptions, and do experiments. After these have been done, they get their results. Then there is a lot of data from scientists. The scientists around the world have a picture of the world.
Tourism is a challenging sector which divides statistics since businesses serve tourists, also serve local people. Therefore, it is not straightforward to estimate how much business sectors, revenues, and how many jobs are due to tourist expenditures.
Traditional divisions of domestic work are understood to persist because of the strong association of the home with femininity and paid work with masculinity. To challenge who does what in the home is arguably tantamount to challenging what it is to be a woman or a man.
Fence, humanly erected barrier between two divisions of land, used to mark a legal or other boundary, to keep animals or people in or out, and sometimes as an ornament. In newly settled lands, fences are usually made of materials at hand, e.g., stone, earth, or
Clemenson wanted to see if claims of question dodging actually held up, historically, not necessarily in the unique case of Trump. So Clemenson analyzed the transcripts of 14 presidential debates from 1996 to 2012. Overall, he found 51 accusations of question dodging, 26 by Dems, 25 by Republicans.
Blue is the most popular color. Food researchers disagree. When humans searched for food, they learned to avoid toxic or spoiled objects, which were often blue, black, or purple. When food dyed blue is served to study subjects, they lose appetite.